It's so weird. Oh wait, no, this is the regular startup. I was thinking
Yeah.
of, yeah.
Could you imagine having like multiple startups? Well, I guess you could.
Some people do, right?
I guess. Like that
Some
seems
people
like an
have
awful...
like multiple animated startups, and it's like, wow, that's high effort.
Animation's expensive, man.
It is, and like some of these ones are like very elaborate and like pretty well done.
They are. Like what was the one I was looking at? The only one that has like varying differences of quality is Maximilian's intro. Because it goes from like, that looks really good, and it's like an immediately smash cut to the next scene. Like, that looks like something I would have drawn. Hey, what's going on, everybody? We are getting ready for a weekly Daily Wednesdays. We were talking about, what, Pluto? Some planet of laptop?
Pluton? What?
Pluto. You were talking about laptops. That you could deploy something on laptop. I can roll back the tape.
Terminator, the terminal panes.
Ah. I thought you said, was I aware of something? And I thought it was like Pluton or Pluto or whatever.
Oh.
The Google service?
Oh, Colab.
Colab, okay.
Pluto. Ooh.
Pluto.
I guess that shares like a letter.
I don't know, man.
Two letters. O and L. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, we were talking about like getting hacked by Roblox. Yeah.
I mean, that happens, man. Like, I'm trying to get your levels set in.
All right. Yeah. We're talking about just how weird open platforms that like let you host content, just arbitrary content, can be hijacked. Colab was the example I gave because it's a thing for like running code, and it limits you to a number of minutes, but you can also just like pick up your sandbox and go to another Colab session. What are you talking about? It's totally Jill. Tee.
All right, so yeah, I'm hitting right at 18. I'm trying a different way of like wiring this right now.
Okay. Yeah, because what you usually play around with stuff on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So I get to be the guinea pig this time.
Hey, man. So let me see. Let me take a look, and I just want to make sure we're not tapping too hard into the limiter.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sure.
Yeah. And it doesn't look like I am. Were you able to get some foam in that corner?
I have stuff, and I was gonna do it, and I literally just forgot. I sat down and I'm like, I need to fucking do this. There's I think the spot that needs foam is literally just 2 panels worth right behind where everything is, so I gotta pull the desk out and get behind there. Yeah, it's a wee inaccessible. There's also a light bulb I need to change up there too, so.
Well, you know, lighting looks pretty good now.
Yeah, I stopped using these lights. I'm just using the pot lights in the room.
Yeah, you're not like, it's not like blown out.
All right, well, I'll keep it this way.
I mean, if you're looking for an excuse not to replace a light bulb, I don't have any complaints.
All right, fair enough. Then it will forever be the dark corner of the room.
Yes.
Unloved.
Oh, dude. Are you still using the Acer Screechy McMonitor?
I am. My way around that is, it turns out that that alarm comes through the inbuilt speaker. Mm-hmm. So if you just mute that, it goes away forever. And I haven't had to deal with that.
Right. I think I ran into that like when I was looking, because if out of the box these monitors had a USB 3, which was novelty at the time, man. Mm-hmm. A USB 3 hub on them, and
it's a good hub too.
Yeah, once you learn that there's a settings buried in the menu to disable the USB 3 hub from depowering along when the monitor goes into standby.
Yeah. I found that one too, and it's like, ooh, now I can charge stuff and not have to have this monitor on.
Now it's useful, right? Because I was like, plug a sound card into that. Yeah, I was wondering, how are your buttons holding up? Like do you use multiple inputs?
I do, and for a while I was switching pretty routinely. I will say switching on this one is a pain in the ass, because like you press the button and then it cycles through all of them.
Right.
And you can't just like say this one, because this monitor, this is also an Acer monitor. the 32 inch, and you can just lock it to a display, and that's super nice. Because when you like power off a display on the you know the one, it.
Why can't you be normal?
It just cycles to the next display. So like, that's great and all, but like I wanted to reboot this computer. I didn't want to switch to whatever else was plugged in here. I was expecting it to stay put, and then once it comes back up, you got to hit the button again and wait for it to cycle through the other inputs you're not using.
And the input that you want to use is going to be the last.
Yeah, it is all. Yeah, for whatever reason,
period.
DisplayPort is the last one.
Period.
Mini DP is like number one.
Well, you got to think when these monitors came out, DisplayPort was like this brand new thing, man.
Maybe when did this monitor come out? That's
new monitors are like 8-9 years old, probably older than that.
Because the Lenovo L laptop I got for college, the L412, that had like a second generation like Ivy Bridge, and that had a DisplayPort and only a DisplayPort. No, it had a DisplayPort and VGA. There was no HDMI, and I'm like, what the hell is this weird like port thing that like no monitor has? It's like an HDMI with like an L shape.
Well, I think like one of the strange things in this one is it's still got a mini DisplayPort.
Yeah, back when they were expecting people to use this with their Apple computers, right?
That and what is it? I got some NVIDIA cards with the mini DisplayPorts on them.
Yeah, they would come with one for a while, which I'm not opposed to.
Yeah,
it's like it's full ass DisplayPort, right? Like I have zero issue with DisplayPort.
I mean, I'd be perfectly happy if NVIDIA stuck with the because that 2060 I have has the NVLink, which is just a USB-C combo with the display out. Like that's a handy thing to put on a video card.
Yeah, I wish TVs would come with like USB-C.
Good God, yes.
Like
did you see the free TV?
This guy, yeah. Free TV.
You can get a free TV.
Oh yeah, the with the ad screens. Yes.
Dude, but it's got like that display on the bottom. That is just like a nice long. I want to know what the resolution is, and can I just buy that?
Can you just get the display?
That's all I want. I was like, that would be such a cool display to have, man. Like as a lower disc.
Yeah, you could have like a CNN style or fake stock information or whatever.
Well, you could put, I was thinking for like a desktop, man. You can like plugins. You could watch a really, really widescreen movie.
That's true. You could watch like all the old spaghetti westerns in like their native resolution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The interesting thing, if you don't know, though, they're giving away, I think, geez, how many was it? It was like half a 500,000.
I thought it was like 400.
No. It was sizable enough. Let's go take a look, as is tradition. This is the screen I'm talking about. Like
Pizza Hut. Oh, I do want some Pizza Hut.
That has got to be like the worst food in the world. I mean, for you.
It is. No, it's like, it's not even the best pizza I can order, but...
The last time, like, no joke, the last time I ordered Pizza Hut, we had some people over, and I ordered, they were open, is why I ordered them. Literal grease, like, dripping from the pizza, and I'm like, really? And they're like, that's so cool. Like, right
yeah, on. They do the, that, like, that raised pan, so, like, it traps all the grease and the crust absorbs it. Yeah.
I'm going to do a little social media things. Then we're going to find out how many of these TVs they're giving away. I'm sure they're all spoken for. But the interesting thing to me about the TVs is, like, they have multiple ways of detecting whether or not you're trying to prevent the ads from being displayed.
Of course.
Then you have to return it, and they'll charge your card or something like that.
What if you just, like, put a big piece of cardboard over the lower screen? Like... It's a little analog, but I think it will still work.
Oh, dude, what if it's got a camera in
it? You just set up a photo of, like, people watching.
Right.
Oh, man, yeah, this is the arms race. We're going to set up, like, a generative AI to just,
$500,000.
$500,000. $1,000 at retail? Okay. Like, I've seen more expensive TVs that you have to, like, but that the ads are mandatory. I don't know. If giving it away, sure, but I don't know about paying money for that.
Would you get the free TV though? They're like, hey.
Oh yeah, no, I got the free TV, absolutely. Because like the second that like that whatever contract that is expires, or the second like they figure out an offline patch, like.
But yeah. That's what it seemed to me, man. Like that's the ultimate like gauntlet thrown down, right?
Yeah, it's like all right, hackers, come on, let's do it. Let's get it done.
Oh man,
hackers rise up.
Yeah,
we all want a free TV.
Let's see, what are we talking about today? We're going to tell you to stop using X Windows, Cosmic Progress, which is kind of cool. It's always fun to keep track of them. Firewire on Linux, I got that out last week and talk about that. And stomp boxes.
Well, you can stomp it the one time.
Like, well, I mean, I got a stomp box right here. I got my DoD. What is this? FX50B Overdrive Plus. The orange dot pedal. Or the yellow one, I guess I should say. It's very common.
It looks orange with the lighting there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna call you on to be like, actually, that looks like yellow.
It is
give
yellow.
Give you the hex code. You like Strider with like the eyedropper tool. He was eyedropping everything a couple weeks ago.
Right. How much was this thing? $49.95.
For a pedal, that's reasonable.
Yeah. I got so many guitars. Hey, do you have a lot of pedals?
I have no pedals.
This is like the only thing I still had a box for whatever reason. I mean, geez, I don't know, probably like 12, 13 pedals.
Yeah, the only pedal I ever considered getting was just like a basic distortion one for my bass, but like, yeah, no, I don't have. But and nowadays I have a laptop that effectively does what this project does, but like I don't need a if I had I did have a spare Raspberry Pi 4, I could actually set that up. And stomp on it one time.
It would almost make a good video. If you were destroying a Raspberry Pi, we'd have to do a smash cut and swap the Raspberry Pi with something.
No. Just like smash the Raspberry Pi and then just like jam out on the bass, but like no sound comes through. Just fucking smash the thing recording it.
And smash the guitar and walk off. Yeah.
Yeah. Light it on fire.
All right. Hendrix it. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
And this is why we're not sponsored by Gibson.
I don't know if I'd want to be sponsored. Gibson's like shady these days, man. The only thing Gibson has made recently that I had an opportunity to buy, but I told myself, and I didn't let myself buy it. A friend of a friend was getting rid of his Gibson auto tune, which had the automatic tuners built in. Just because I thought
it's not the robot guitar. That was like
yes.
Oh, is it that one?
Well, they make a series of. Well, I don't even know if they still made them, but it's got you strum it and just watch it, and it goes.
Yeah, I remember seeing some YouTube videos back in the day about like, oh yeah, futuristic guitar, self-tuning. Yeah, okay. I thought that was like a one-time thing or like a proof of concept, but I guess they made a bunch of them.
It's Gibson. I don't know if they made a bunch of them, but
and enough idiots bought them that they made more than one.
That might have been what I was going. Did they make more than one? This was on a let me see what was it.
I remember this was from like 2006. I want to say that era. 2007.
It was pretty old. It was Les Paul. So
robot guitar.
Yep, there it is. All right. Boop.
This guy. Yeah.
Gore.
Okay. Yeah, 2000. All right, 2007. That lines up.
But like, you don't need that.
No, of course. No, you don't need a robot auto-tuning guitar. No, that's what's going to make you sound great, and that's what's going to get your record famous. Absolutely.
Wanted it. You know what? I like that Wikipedia picture because it's got all these expensive, relatively expensive pedals, but it's got that Snowball USB microphone sitting there.
Oh, it does? Yeah. I mean, you gotta cheap out somewhere, right?
Yeah, right.
The guy's a guitarist, not a vocalist.
True. Maybe he just wanted to mic his click pedal. Click, 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 click. Digitech. Oh man. I got some Boss stuff. I got some Zoom stuff. I don't know if I got any Digitech stuff. What pedal's in this box? That's a good question. Arion? Oh, this thing's from the fucking UK, baby.
The only Arion I know is a Dutch band, so...
The Dutch. Holland, man. Holland is so flat.
Sure.
It is, man. I'm watching my the Canadian bicyclist guy, and every time I like pop on that channel, it's just like you can see forever.
It's very, very, very uniform surface. True level.
Okay, I got that out, and yeah, what I meant to ask you like 20 minutes ago about the Acer monitor, my input switching button is getting a little funky.
Wiggy?
Yeah, as is wondering because I never use it. It might get pressed once a week.
Yeah, it's fine. I was using it like a couple times a day. Like,
okay, maybe it's just from like lack of use.
Maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, maybe like my finger grease has like encased the button and has wedged it in.
Well, you know some buttons get like that. What is the solution to it? You just press on it a lot of times.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's, not seated properly. You just gotta like jam it in one good time.
Or just
hear
the contact.
click. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just not. I don't want to shoot like contact cleaner in there, and I don't feel like taking it apart. So whatever.
It was the $300 4K monitor, right? Like,
Exactly. Back when $300 meant something.
Yeah. And like it's lasted this far, so I got zero complaints. That's a solid purchase.
Yeah, it's held up. I mean, it's got its issues. Everyone has the same issues with it, but I mean, for a monitor, it monitors very well.
Yes.
Little ghosty.
What? Like it's literally just gonna get handed down to the kid. When I get this one replaced, it's because like it doesn't need the crazy monitor.
No, my only complaint for that monitor, this monitor, is it doesn't do UHD 60 over HDMI.
Yes, because it's got the old
Yeah, it can do UHD 30.
Yep.
It has DVI on the back too.
It does. It's got all the ports. Like it's a legit
VGA?
monitor. I don't think it has VGA.
All right.
But like, I guess VGA can theoretically do 4K.
That sounds like something we've looked up before.
Yeah, I think theoretically it's capable of doing it. How well it does it, I'm not going to comment on that, right?
Old connectors like VGA and DVA don't support 4K.
No?
What?
Okay.
What?
What is the maximum VGA cable resolution? So,
DVI connectors can boast. See, all right. See, this is lies right here, man. It's saying VGA can only do 640 by 480. That's wrong.
no, yeah, that's max resolution. It can support up to 1920 by 1080p. Okay, that's the cap.
That's where it taps out.
That's where it caps out.
Is that like 1080p 30 or 60?
This does not say refresh rate.
Oh, okay.
It won't be able to push beyond 60 hertz. So theoretically,
The maximum resolution is 2488 by 1536 at 85 hertz. So it should be able to do 1080p 60.
Yeah.
Which that sounds right. We were running 1080p 60 on VGA, weren't we?
Yeah. They had 1080p monitors though with VGA.
I mean, by then we were using DVI.
Well, like I think most laptops still like didn't have a DVI. It was VGA.
DVI was such a dumpy connector, man.
Well, did you have DVI-I,
Here we go,
DVI-D,
yeah, right.
DVI? You needed to know which pins were the right
How
ones.
did you find that out? You just started plugging it in. It's like, nope, it's the other cable. It's the one with the pin shaped that way. And
it's like, oh, so some of them have sound and can do like full HDMI, some can't. I've got lucky. The one I got could do sound. And I was like, oh my god, I can plug my Xbox 360 into my computer monitor. Now I can just play Xbox games in my room.
I didn't even know they had ones with sound.
Yeah, because what do you call it? The video signal over HDMI is just DVI, isn't it? Like, you don't need an active converter. It's just the same.
Right. Because I'm pretty sure I got some HDMI to DVI cables that are just
that are just like
wired.
straight. Yeah.
Sound over monitor cables is dark, man. That's just a good way to give yourself a heart attack.
I use it for the room speakers. It's fine.
The only time I ever run into it, though, is when I'm reminded and I accidentally have sound playing out of a monitor, which scares the hell out of me because I forget that monitors have speakers in them.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. You don't want to use the monitor speakers. I have like a pair of like cheapo Logitech speakers plugged into them. Because they do come with headphone jacks. So.
All right. Yeah, looks like everything's settled down.
Excellent.
Playing nice, so we can go ahead and
do it.
do the thing. You get any like real vacation stuff planned this week? Or?
No, it's just taking it easy. It's the wife's birthday this week, so we're gonna do some stuff over the weekend.
Oh, cool.
Take her on a shopping trip, do some sushi and stuff. Yeah. It's just low stress week. It's
Got it.
Very.
All right. Now let's go ahead and click the stomp button. And where do I need that? Oh, I need that there. There we go. Ah, yes, the Toronto mountains.
Yeah, the mountains of Toronto. Actually, there are some like hiking trails near Scarborough that we could go to. There's actually a big hike. We live right by a hiking trail, so.
Well, you know, Scott, I'm glad I held off because I was going to entertain the idea of like, oh man, imagine if somebody did HDCP on DVI. Wouldn't that have been a nightmare? Apparently that was an attempt then.
I think like anything HDCP is like nightmare inducing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, why do I need DRM on my cable? It's a physical media. Stop it. And it's like, no, we're going to make it illegal to buy DHCP. Or not DHCP, HDCP strippers. God damn it, it's the same letters too. So yeah, no, you if you plug this into your computer, you won't get an IP address. It's a DHCP stripper.
Oh no, now I'm thinking about like HDCP Ethernet cables.
Oh no. I'm sorry, you didn't plug the right kind of Ethernet cable in. No network for you.
Do you hear me, Fate? That'll never happen.
No, that's going to be like Cat9 Ethernet now with like a hardware-based authentication.
Oh man, it's got to do a proprietary handshake for the whatever ROG Ally.
Yeah,
with the RGBs.
Welcome to hell, ladies and gentlemen.
I did get somebody last week. I was talking about what if we could do like extra long runs of like Hopper, Ethernet kit, because we're talking about Cat 10 over 10, which immediately 10 gig over Cat 9 or whatever, 300. And I'm like, that's a dumb idea. Don't waste your money. Use fiber. It's way cheaper. And then I was like, man, wouldn't it be neat if they made some type of converter to convert the copper wires to fiber? And I got him for a minute. He's like, shut up. I'm like, all right. You could probably get people to buy one of those, though. So, like, plug your 10 gig Ethernet in and then plug an SFP into one end. And they probably make those. Let's be honest. People are dumb enough to. Skittles. You do like, what do you just like go outside? You should try that on a mountain bike.
That's what we need. Bike attachments for your Steam Deck.
Yes.
They have surface to air missile mounted attachments for your Steam Deck. Seems like the next logical choice.
I mean, we've clearly seen Steam Decks in military airplanes.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Just straight up, they're like, yeah, it runs Linux. We can just install our shit on it and it works.
All right, everybody. Let's get underway. Episode, whatever this is, 375. Boop. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays, where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vince Stone. That is Jordan Huang. And hey, are you watching this live? Twitch.tv/Linux Gamecast, 3 p.m. What's up? What's new? Big thanks. Taking a break on holiday this week. Chilling out. You played Darkest Dungeons yesterday, man. I didn't get to watch any of it.
Yeah, it was.
But I added you as a friend on Twitch. I followed you on Twitch.
I saw that. That meant a lot to me. Thank you. Yeah, Darkest Dungeon 2. It's weird. It's really weird because like the combat is the same and it's doubled down on. Like they added a bunch more stuff to the point where there is a hotkey for bringing up the status glossary at like any point in the game, just because there are so many like effects. But like it's super stripped down. Like there's like the runs are really short now. There's no like village building or whatever, and it does the Hades thing where it wants you to die a lot to like build up your characters so that later on you can take on like the bigger and bigger challenges.
Did they do that in Darkest Dungeon 1? Like when your character died, you got to maintain like some stats?
Well, so Darkest Dungeon 1 was like more about you had like a whole roster of dudes, and you had to like pick which ones you sent out because like you had to manage the recovery of them. This game does away with all of that. You pick your 4 heroes at the beginning, and then you just go. And if any one of them dies, there's there's like 1 or 2 spots where you can pick a new guy and like drop him in there. But yeah, it's like super cut down, and like I understand why they did all of it, but I also liked a bunch of the stuff. But the fights are like way more intense and like so much more unfair. Oh man, it's punishing. There's a couple boss fights where it's just like, oh, first round, you're all in stun lock. Now you have to sit here for 15 minutes while the enemy team just wails on you.
It's like one of the characters on the baddie side, like a cannon.
I thought
I saw a stream and like one of the people that were fighting against was just a big cannon.
That doesn't surprise me because like there's like multiple runs, so I haven't even gotten past the first one yet, and like it gets progressively harder and harder and harder. So yeah, like it's this game is brutal. It's harsh, but I'm enjoying it so far.
Sounds like you'll grow into it. No multiplayer?
No multiplayer so far. Yeah, but I think if they were going to do it, it would have to be like the DD1, where it's basically just like a completely different game because all the abilities are like meant to like synergize against PvE and like fight the PvE abilities. So like yeah, DD1 multiplayer is just like, hey, everyone has new abilities and they're all like super PvP focused and like they're all balanced against each other as opposed to balanced versus the monsters.
Yeah. The game I've been playing, I've talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I might even brought it up last week, is Recore, which was the game that Microsoft released, and it was going to be a big thing. And like, it was the Game Pass one that was like... It was Xbox exclusive. This was before game. Yeah, it was like...
Right.
Yeah, and like they put a ton of money into it. It just disappeared, and I got it for like $3 on Steam. And this is the definitive edition. And here's the thing. First 10 hours, fun. The entire time I'm playing for 10 hours, I'm like, why is everybody hating on this? Then you hit the grind wall. And it turns into where you have to go up a dungeon on multiple levels, and then you have to go back out in the world and like run through more dungeons to upgrade. I think I'm done with it. But for $3, I thought it was a good deal.
That reminds me a bit of Disgaea, where if you want like the really good weapons, you have to do the weapon dungeons, which are just like entirely separate dungeons that your reward for completing them, in addition to like XP, is just the good items. And so if you want to be able, and there's a wall at the point where it's like, hey, you need to grind up your dudes, and so the only way to do it is to just do infinite dungeons. And I'm like, this is kind of regressing and I'm not getting anywhere, so I'm just gonna put this down.
Well, I just don't like that in a game, especially when you can do the first 10 hours kind of freeform, playing around, doing your things. Then it's like, oh no, switch flip. Now we grind.
Especially when they gate off options and it's like, oh, this looks cool, I really want to get to it. Like, oh, well, you don't qualify for it. You need to grind in order to get the one thing that you can use to unlock it. And you're like,
Well, it doesn't really know what it wants to be because there's these insane platforming challenges, and basically you get to an arena, you got to do a couple of these to get up to the next level and like the final area. And it subtly drops a hint by like one-shotting you with one of the baddies, and you're like, right.
Don't do that.
So yeah, I'm just gonna chill out on that. Let's start off with what we're here to talk about, and that is Hector.
X won't give it to you.
Yeah, right. Are you running Wayland on anything? Laptop?
Yeah. This guy is running Wayland. TV box is running Wayland. Wife's computer is running Wayland. Work machine's running Wayland. So yeah. I'm running quite a bit of Wayland these days.
A lot of Wayland. So Hector, you might know him. You might love him. He's working on the Apple M1, and he says, Asahi Linux. If you're going to be running Asahi Linux, get rid of the Wayland. Not get rid of it. Don't do that.
The opposite of that.
Yes, the opposite of what that guy just said. And he had a long post on Mastodon going on about, hey, why does this make sense? And yeah, you know what? This makes perfect sense for the M series, man, because, you know, he goes through it. He's like, hey, we originally shipped X because we didn't have working GPU drivers and software rendering was the way to go. However, you know, that's been flipped. Now that they have working GPU drivers, Wayland is significantly faster. And
then OS 10.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, come on, man. To me, it makes perfect sense. I would just, you know, especially when you're working with something like this, reverse engineering project, just use whatever they're working with at the time, right?
You kind of want bleeding edge.
Right. And were there anybody who was sitting back going, man, no, this line in the sand on my M1 Mac running Linux on it has to run X. Like,
so I mean, there are holdouts, right? Like we've had a couple of people in like Discord, and we've talked about it where it's like, yeah, I don't trust SSDs, and they were saying that like in 2017, and it's like, I don't know, man. By like every objective metric, they're just better. I don't know. I don't trust it. I think there's definitely some of that with like Wayland and Pipewire, and we got a lot of that with systemd, right? Like at any time some new thing comes down the pike, people are very resistant to it. But as brought up in the Mastodon thread, and Hector amended his post. Wayland support isn't 100% feature complete. There are quite a few gaps, including accessibility, which is a big one for a lot of people who like the accessibility under Windows is definitely a lot better than it was in the past, but it's because of Linux's nature of being open source, there have been a lot more specialized and integrated like accessibility projects, like Orca, for example. And that goes into something from the next story we'll get into a little bit more. But the security model, the lack of like direct shareability and needing to use side channels to do some types of interprocess communication does make implementing Wayland a bit trickier in those edge cases.
Yeah, I think the accessibility thing that's a thing we've all been guilty of like making a thing, and we forget about a certain subset of users, and you're like, oh right, that's a real issue. Like Orca is just not a good experience, as you were saying with that. Couple of things though, man. Like Macs aside, let's just talk about like PCs, because why is this transition taking so long? I think this is a real question. I think a lot of people have asked themselves, like, you know, Wayland, how long has Wayland been in development, Jordan? Well over a decade.
Yeah, well over a decade. So I did a bit of looking into the timeline of things, because you brought up Mir and NVIDIA. So we know Wayland was starting to be a thing, like I think early 2010s. People are like, hey, we need to start looking at a replacement for X. This is a security nightmare. So Mir was actively being pushed from about 2013 to 2017. Canonical was going pretty hard on it. They were working with hardware vendors. NVIDIA was kind of in this no man's land where they're like, oh, what way are we going to support things? We're going to do things this way. Flash forward to 2017, they give up on Mir. Sorry, Patrick. Yeah, too bad. Then we actually only get GBM support in NVIDIA drivers as of 2021. But from 2017 to now, that's about about 5 years of like pure Wayland development time, and there has been quite a bit of progress if you think about it. GameScope has just sprung out of nowhere. That's like probably one of the most commonly used Wayland compositors. Pipe, Wine on Wayland has made a great number of strides. They're starting to upstream that. Once that's natively supported, Proton's going to ingest that, and that's going to remove another big barrier for full Wayland future. As mentioned, the actual NVIDIA support as of 2021, you can actually use your NVIDIA card with like Mutter or Kwin or whatever. I would also credit Pipewire. Pipewire actually implements like a multimedia stack in a way that is more compatible with the Wayland security model. One thing I think may have caused the slowdown of like Wayland progress is we have sexier fish in the pond right now. We have stuff like DXVK, D9VK, VKD3D, all the Wine stuff, all the Proton stuff. That's where a lot of like the big brain power of like Linux graphics is going right now. That's where a lot of like the Mesa development is focused. And I think like, oh yeah, replacing our display server is kind of a less sexy, less flashy goal, when we could say like, hey, look at this, we have Darkest Dungeon 2 running basically day of release. Check out these new games that have come out. You can just run them on your Linux desktop. And I think that is like what's really grabbing the mind space, and that's where a lot of the engineering effort is being directed now. We're still seeing some movement on the back end. We see like Red Hat saying that they want to deprecate X11 by Rel 10. So there's definitely forward motion. I think there's just like a couple, there's like recording, like interprocess communication, accessibility. There are still a couple big pieces that are missing, but we're getting there.
Do you think the Steam Deck had anything to do with it? Help driving that?
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Again, GameScope. And just the general improvement of the Linux driver stack. Once upon a time, Xorg was your only option because that was the only thing that had like decent 3D acceleration drivers. Now, hell, we have NVIDIA open source drivers now, right?
It's getting there. It's getting there, and yeah, I'm always excited for it. I've said multiple times, like the biggest obstacle to Wayland is X11, and that reason being X is traditionally and even today good enough.
Yeah, but it's definitely fallen apart at the seams, and there's no one really willing to maintain it anymore. I think that's the other thing, is most of the people who were
I hear that what you're about to say, and the people actively developing on it, maintenance is still being taken care of.
Maintenance is still being taken care of, yeah, but like nothing is really moving forward. And I think I think one thing that Linux is very, very good at is like ultimately moving forward. If you look at a rival platform like Windows, there's still a lot of cruft from like 3.1. If you want to actually get anything done in Windows, you need to pull up the OG tool. You need to crawl through the control panel or whatever and find the console or whatever that was introduced in like MMC version 1.2.
Oh man, you just install what is it, Windows Tweaks for 95 and you're good.
Yeah. But like we've been able to push that dial forward a lot in ways that like other operating systems haven't, and
that's also one of the negative things to say about that is we do that by breaking stuff. Go play a Linux game from 10 years ago.
I mean, that's why we have Strider working on getting old Ubuntu running through VirGL to play Heroes of Might and Magic.
Well, I mean, it does lead to things like Proton though, like easy
and
just run the Windows version, because hey, that thing's built up. For me, there's a whole different thing. For desktop use, I absolutely suggest everybody run Wayland, use Pipewire. You're going to be good, as like Jordan has attested. Running on a work laptop, media stuff like that. Where do you run X?
Literally on this box right here. Yeah, and that is mostly because I don't want to fight. Well, I say that I said a half truth earlier. Okay. NVIDIA on Wayland works. I still don't want to tango with it just yet. I want to give that a little bit more time to bake. I want to like see a couple like people show me like, hey Jordan, stop being such a regressive idiot. This works. I've installed it from scratch and it works fine. I haven't seen that just yet.
Are you
but
still
like
in the cool story, bro, with that relationship?
Yeah, but like I'm willing to be convinced. I am all for moving forward and adopting the new technology as required. Immutable root, I might be a little resistance to, just because, you know, for a work laptop, it's fine. For my fun box, no, I want to be able to break my root.
Yes.
You know, maybe I want to be able to break my root and restore from a snapshot. So maybe some immutability is good, or like targeted immutability.
I think
I don't want to break any core system stuff.
For like me, is I need something. I'm like, ooh, that does something that I can't currently do, or in reality, like even on the desktop, I've said XFCE. Like when we start seeing some real work being done in XFCE, because that's a big one for me for Wayland adoption. Unlike some people in the audience, I'm not a big fan of relearning how my desktop works every decade, because they decided to change everything. XFCE looks like XFCE when it started.
I mean, XFCE looks like whatever you set up XFCE to look like, right?
Yeah, I mean, it has that option. Like out of the box, it's XFCE. They don't put the focus on like reinventing the user experience, which to me, I think is a good thing. You know, focus on, you know, stability, code quality, and all that. I was surprised to see this, man. The Wayland compositor is up and running. It was committed last week. So, and that's for XF Window Manager. Interesting times. See, I want to play with that already. I'm like, ooh, I want to see how that works. So there we go. Jordan, are you going to run out? Can you even get System 76 at a reasonable price in Canada?
You said reasonable price, so the answer is no.
No.
Can I get I can get anything I want in Canada.
Right.
Can I get it for a reasonable price?
No.
But yeah, they've been working on their new desktop environment, and done entirely in Rust Cosmic, and they have a status update. And it comes with a bunch of neat stuff like the System 76 scheduler, which you seem pretty interested in.
I think that's
I saw that, and I'm like, this is Ven fuel right here.
For just like at the end of the day, man, for somebody who's using a just even on the desktop playing games and all that, having all that on the side is great, man. Like, wait, do you have something against it?
I don't.
I mean, it's going to give you like the priority for whatever's focused in the current window that you're working with. And my first thought is like, oh man, I want to open up GIMP and put it in classic mode where it's 11D windows and like, yeah, haha.
Oh man, yeah, no, it's a good idea, right? Like, people play with like a lot of kernel space schedulers. Having something like in user space that is a little bit more user facing is a neat ability for System 76 to have. Yeah, all this
look a lot of pictures of the space shuttle. Why?
Yeah, it looks very Macintoshy. I gotta say, I'm definitely getting some.
That looks nothing. Okay, it looks a lot like a Mac. Never mind.
Yeah, but so they're in this blog post, they talk about panels and the applets. Applets are kind of like GNOME shell extensions. The panels, they're kind of like docks, and panels, they're the best of both worlds. They have they have these applets that are like they can be shortcuts, they can be basically whatever. This is basically Cosmic's widgeting system. And you know, we were talking about Orca. They do have some initial support in Orca. Or in Cosmic, and sort of. There's no keyboard support. You can use a mouse.
I think it's very comfortable saying the fact that it launches.
Yes. As mentioned before, like the issue is like getting text out of the Wayland session and into another thing. Mm-hmm. So there still needs to be some R&D work done on what is a secure way of doing this. But one big bonus for accessibility is their iced library, which is their core functionality system library. Is being integrated with Access Kit, which is an accessibility toolkit, and they're partnering with them pretty closely to have. They even have a couple of their the cosmic features on the Access Kit roadmap now, which it's pretty cool to see someone take like an accessibility focused approach to desktop environments, because again, it is kind of an afterthought, as was brought up in the Wayland discussion, and I think like that it is unfortunately the reality of it, that the accessibility stuff is often an afterthought. So having something baked in right away and having the ability to have that extensibility in place is going to be huge for people to be able to actually, use the thing.
This is true. System 76 has been kind of interesting. And to your point about it, looking a little Apple-y, I mean, whatever. But I mean, I've always wanted to see what comes of this. It could be, we can call them i76, and because they have control now over the hardware that they make, and they want to do their own software stack, including the desktop, and having that unified Linux experience. Linux just happens to be what they've chosen to use. And I want to see what the end product looks like.
It's that retro Macintosh look, like back when they were actually made out of wood. Yeah. You ordered a kit and you built it in your garage. Man, got to bring it back for the modern era.
That was, you want to get Linux on the desktop. That's how you do it. You drive the Penguin in the front of the factory, and you drive the computer out of the back with like full custom, support.
The Carmageddon method. I see.
Yes, the Model P for the Penguins.
Now, here's the real question, though. All this is well and good, but the real question we want answered is: are you using Linus Tech Tips as your major QA user story? Is this thing Linus proof?
See, that's good public facing, but anybody with an iota of sense realizes, like, is that Linus's writer's proof?
I mean, that's what I mean. It's the Royal Linus, right? Like,
right.
Let's be real. It's not a one-man show making and editing all these videos. I think we can like dispel that myth. That's not how content production works.
I don't know if is it techtainment? Like,
yeah, it's like infotainment. I think is probably like the right word.
Right.
I mean, we're in that category. More emphasis on the attainment than the info, but
well, with that,
maybe minimal emphasis on the attainment.
Do you think well, that would be like if we were doing a bunch of scripted videos like this?
What? Why did you send me the script that I'm reading?
Just to mess with you. I mean, I'm saying this, yeah. It made sense at the time, man. So, Hey, maybe you want to play around with some vintage, ancient, retro technology. Well, too bad. We're going to talk about FireWire. It's none of those things, but it is old, and you can use it on Linux with pretty much anything, unless you got a laptop. Somebody already asked about a laptop, and I'm like, let it go. Do not chase that dragon.
What about those PC MIA FireWire ports?
That was one that, or if you have an Apple Mac with Thunderbolt, preferably the old one, there's a FireWire 400, 800, 800 to Thunderbolt 1, Thunderbolt 1 to Thunderbolt 2.
You got to do the Tower of Power.
Yeah, and from Apple, and those are like $80, $90 a pop for the adapters. So if you've been looking for a retro way to connect your vintage audio interface, here we go. Unlike camcorders or hard disk drives, FireWire audio interfaces are absolutely still worth using 2023, because we figured out how to do digital audio conversion back in like 2003, 2005. Nothing's really changed since then. And now we know we have kernel support for FireWire until at least 2029, barring a Raptor bus. And yeah, I thought I'd just walk through this. It's a short video. It's under 5 minutes. Shows you the ins and outs, what you can expect to work with Pipewire, Pulse Audio, Jack, ALSA, you name it. What you got to do if you just want a sound device versus if you want a multi-channel professional audio recording interfaces, and what problems you may encounter. Also, a little Q&A at the end. Where to buy them, what do I recommend, and what to avoid. There you go. That's done. I totally made that thumbnail in DaVinci Resolve because I didn't feel like opening GIMP.
I mean, that's fair.
And I probably spent 3 times as long just because I didn't feel like opening GIMP.
I mean, there's a certain, I guess, I started doing it this way, and goddamn it, I'm gonna finish doing it this way. I could make this easier on myself, but no.
We could definitely do that. We could just do a show where we drop electronics. I have plenty of expensive electronics to drop.
Do you have a high enough building though, and like a slow-mo camera?
I did say from what height. It's going to be like half a centimeter.
Yeah. And just super slow-mo, like
bonk.
Yep.
Yeah. So there you go. Go check that out at linuxgamecast.com. And of course, all this is brought to you by our patrons, patreon.com/linuxgamecast. If you want to support the show, head over there, which I haven't even put that in the show notes because I was scrambling. Let me see. There it is. Shameless plug. Help us out if you got some spare quarters, pennies, dimes, or billions and billions of dollars. We'll put that to good work. Try to make some educational content, some entertaining content, probably not a lot of scripted content. And there it is. You get a bunch of bonus.
Memorize the script then. Ah, goddamn.
Have you tried to memorize scripts?
I have, yes.
I don't do that. That's why I got really good at spot reading.
I got to at least know what I'm saying. It doesn't have to necessarily be verbatim, but like I got to at least know what I'm saying beforehand.
When I got to go off of a script, I will do like the cocky I got this mode, and I'll do it, and I'll start improvising, then I'll start rambling, then I'll get way out in left field, and then it's the whole circle of life going back to me saying, just read the script, dummy.
Yep.
And you'll get through it, and it'll fit in the allotted time spot.
That's that ADD thing right there. It's just like, no, I don't need to do it.
I can wing this. If you're a patron, you get access to this show, live and uncut version, podcast, all the fun stuff. Hop in our Discord. Spend those Bezos bucks if you got them with a Twitch Prime sub. You can also get access to our Discord where we're at the other 6 days of the week, being ourselves. Got a nice group of people inside of there. And you can do things like Jordan for Strange Brigade, because we do game streams on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays.
Yes. Help carry me through a game I'm very, very bad at. Well, we might get to the end eventually.
We got to do that EA game at some point.
Which one?
You know, the two-person one.
It Takes Two.
It Takes Two. So we have
two brothers in a van,
right?
And then a meteor hit.
Tomatoes. We got a long history of playing multiplayer games through and getting stuck.
Getting stuck, just being generally incompetent.
Yeah.
Go watch our Portal 2 playthrough. I think that's still on YouTube.
Fun times. All right. So, Raspberry Pis are Pi-powered segments. This time, we're going to talk about stomp boxes with the guitars, and there's a birthday cake. It's even got skulls on it.
Carol.
I like that cake. Carol was 23. We're talking about the Pi pedal.
So bad.
No, you don't. Look at this. Hey, I got one of those.
Yes, I do.
Well, I got the bigger version of that. That's a Moto M2. I got an M4. And next to it is a stomp box. However, if you stomp on that box, it's probably not going to work anymore. And maybe you've ever wanted to build something like this, like this is a fuzz pedal, a little distortion pedal. And Jordan, you were talking about, that's what you use now. You just use your PC, right?
Yeah, you can download any number of plugins for free and just, apply whatever distortion effects you want.
Right. But wouldn't it be a lot simpler if you could just put all that functionality inside of a Raspberry Pi? Now, your first thought is like, hey, that's going to be kind of a pain. You're not going to set up a desktop and a monitor and switch. No, that's where this is extra neat. This uses a Raspberry Pi app that's been developed just for this guy. So you can pull it up on, you can do it through a web browser if you want, or through an Android app itself. And it doesn't require an internet connection because this little guy uses Wi-Fi Direct. And I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. That's
pretty neat. You don't see that a lot in open source projects. Yeah.
And it only supports LV2 plugins right now, Jordan.
Yes, with a couple of caveats. It can't be a MIDI instrument or anything with control voltage, and it needs to have no GUI dependencies. It needs to support remote control, which the documentation says is most plugins, but not all of them. So your mileage may vary.
I like it. And unfortunately, though, in this brave new world that we live in, this might not necessarily be the cost-effective solution it once was, considering a Raspberry Pi. In the show, is that your spare Raspberry Pi that you found?
That is my spare Raspberry.
Is it a 2 gig, 4 gig?
It is a 4 gig.
Ooh. With an 8 gig variant of Raspberry Pi still clocking in at well over $190.
Yeah. Little expensive. I wonder though, he says it's for Pi, it's for a Pi 4 only. I wonder if you could get it running on a Nano Pi or basic, because it ships in a deb, right? So you can.
Yeah, it does ship in a deb. It might just be raw horsepower. it might require that quad core. I would like to try it on your like
on
11 core.
Yeah. The 8 core
something with a rock chip in it and see how it works, because those are affordable and available.
Indeed.
And I like the idea of an app. I like the idea of an app. I don't know how that works in the real world, though.
So here's the thing, though. The app does, or the software does support taking MIDI inputs. So if your interface device has a MIDI input, you can set it up to like actually hook up an actual pedal to it if you wanted, or you can tie it to, and you can use any MIDI input. So if you have like a guitar or something that you want to like, this is my whammy key or whatever. You could
whammy bongos.
Yeah, no, set up the Donkey Kong controllers.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, Dark Souls. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Just talking about this, I was like, don't you have? Yeah, I absolutely have a guitar in this room. It was supposed to shape me into playing it, and it's just sitting there in the corner.
Yeah, right over there. Yeah, it's supposed to shame me. No,
I mean, you got to be like at least halfway in the. How many amps do you have?
Got too many.
Okay.
there are like 3 here.
Okay. Well, I got like 2 big amps, and I got like 1 little personal amp, and
I got 2 personals and a biggie.
And like all this gear, like, do you touch that stuff anymore? It's like, not really. I want to play with this.
I stare at it and think I should start playing again. That's what it's there for.
Remember when you had calluses on your fingers? Those were the days. Not really. But you could make cool sounds on like vinyl. So that's going to do it for this week. We'll be back next week, 3 p.m. Come watch us live if you get a chance. But until then, let's roll some credits.
I feel the need to like grease myself up and take off my clothes to this music.
That's because every time you hear this, you're like, Turkish bathhouse, Turkish bathhouse.
I mean, it doesn't have to be in Turkey. It can be any kind of bathhouse.
Well, I mean, it's just a Kleenex of bathhouses. It's the Turkish bathhouse.
I guess, you buy a box of Turkish bathhouse, and every time you want, you know what? No, eject button. This is the Safe for Work show. This is the Safe for Work show.
I mean, just look up Turkish bathhouse on urban.com.
Something, pull out something tissues. I'm sorry.
The closest one to me is going to be in Frisco, Texas, or New York.
Interesting. I think there's a couple in Toronto.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They look very nice. Anyway, all right, everyone. Thanks for working out. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's go down this rabbit hole. When was the first... Because I want to say I remember... What's his name from the Wayland Project, like, giving a lecture in, like, 2006.
Wayland Protocol, blah, 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 blah. 2008 was the initial release.
It might have been, it was like a little, classroom, little dinky setup, after hours.
I think a lot of work was also leached off into like making X11 not suck. That's another thing too, is like they wanted to prioritize
for like the first decade, Homie was like the single developer on it though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I will eventually use
like and honestly, like you cut over to it and like you don't notice anything because it's one of those behind the scenes things that doesn't really impact anything until it does.
That's the dream, you don't notice it until something goes wrong and you're like, oh, okay. But I mean,
like I was amazed that like as of recently, like screen sharing was working through like Google Hangouts and stuff. Like there's like a config file you still need to update, but like
that's kind of a solved problem, right? I mean, it works for the webcams and that's really good to see because that's measured progress, because I can absolutely think of like, well, that just did not work at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there's definitely been like a ton of forward motion, but like, and it also is like X had 30 years to like develop, right? These things don't happen overnight, and like X had like a lot more measured of a development because it's like, okay, well, we need a display server for this multi-terminal thing, and now we can adapt it for the single user thing. And so it's a lot of stuff built on other stuff, whereas like Wayland is very net new.
It is, and X suffers from very few people having the old knowledge.
Yeah, that's another big thing, right? Like all banks are running into this where like they need COBOL people because all of their existing COBOL developers are just like actually dying of old age.
Have you ever been tempted? Like I probably every couple of years I think about like doing a deep dive into like not COBOL but Fortran.
Not so
for no reason than just to learn it like deep.
I guess I do know some people who use Fortran, but they're in like sciences, and that like people use it for number crunching. Like, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's formula. That's the name of
formula transmuter or something. I don't know, translator. Yeah, like there's objective Fortran now and shit.
Well, I mean,
like,
there's Fortran CUDA.
I have a friend. He did a co-op, like an internship, at a trucking company that like just was all AS400 like mainframe based, and just by virtue of him getting like a semester of competency, they offered him like $80K, and they're just like, hey, drop out of school, come work for us.
That happens.
Yeah.
Especially if he's like, I get to be the boss guy. I get to deal with the boss of me guy is what I mean by that.
Yeah. He bought himself a Mustang and he drives from site to site fixing their problems.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love that life. The I don't know, man. Like I wouldn't mind knowing like an old language like that just for the hell of it, but I don't know. Is that what we're going to be doing in like the nursing homes?
It's like the thing. After reading that paper on like Collapse OS, it's like, man, I really need to learn like some basic x86 or like 8082 assembly or something, so that I.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think we're going to be going back to like at current date and time, the people who would be able to get through like 8086 type stuff or Motorola.
Yeah. So like at that point, like if I'm going to learn something low level, it's like I should learn how to like actually use a computer in like the post-apocalypse. Come across some old like industrial control thing and be able to actually like use it for something.
Right. Yeah, like the MOS 6502 or something like that. Yeah. But I mean, there's a bunch of people that like that's their hobby. Kids, right? Mm-hmm. They're playing around with it, and that's always good to see. We'll still have some sweet retro games after the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but nobody wants to really use the Zilog 80 unintentionally. Go to Godbolt. Select your language compiler. Code assembly.
Oh, so you can like see how it like actually turns the C code or whatever into assembly. That's neat.
Well, I mean, even back in the 90s, modern tools for working with assembly existed. I mean, it wasn't done in Emacs. You weren't sitting there hammering it in. That's pretty cool looking.
Well, yeah. I mean, now is a great time because like all that knowledge is out there now. Once upon a time, that was like greedily hoarded by corporations.
Yeah.
Now you have tools like this where you can just go to a fucking website and be like, here's how this proprietary compiler works from like 1987. Once upon a time, you would have been assassinated for leaking this, but like...
Well, I mean, you had to deal with like that nonsense in the 90s too, man. Like the Intel compiler versus GCC. Or did everybody see this?
Yeah, they're moving to open firmware.
Yeah. Man, that's going to be awesome to watch people explode their cards.
It's going to be awesome to see some people like, oh, hey, I figured out how to like unbin this fucking, I don't know, 7040, so now it's a 7080 with just some lower memory, but still.
Oh, man. Yeah, that just makes me happy. Like even from the hidden instructions backdoor area, right?
Yep.
Because people are still finding like undocumented instructions in Intel x86 to this day. You're like, what?
You saw that blog post from that Google engineer, right? About how Bard and ChatGPT are gonna just get eclipsed by the open source tools like very, very soon. Mm-hmm. And like the OpenAI guy's like, hey, we should regulate this now.
Exactly. It's like, we've got ours. Now we need to pass laws to prevent other people from doing that. Yeah. How traditional is that, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, fortunately, it's too late because open source work and development. I mean, it's already out. Like, don't waste time.
Yeah. The llama model. There's like, it doesn't outperform ours, but it went from like 25% to 50% of ours in a month. Mm-hmm. That doesn't bode well for the next couple months.
Well, I mean, that's not... Now, granted, they already had something to work from. They didn't have to start at square one. I mean, they're playing catch-up at this point.
Yep.
So,
yeah. But yeah, like, hobbyists just have, like, more time and effort that they can apply at it. It's, and there's just more of them, right?
Right.
People are dicking around with it. Like, yeah.
Exactly. They want to play with something cool you can play with. Right. And especially with, like, the new stuff. And... yeah, it's absolutely, you don't put the AI genie, you don't legislate it out of existence. That's how you end up with Skynet.
Yeah. Well, and it's like we don't have to worry about the AI turning rogue and trying to kill us. We got to worry about the executives telling the AI to just go rogue and kill us.
I still operate.
Yep.
I think we live in fear of the AI. To this day, I think YouTube's been running itself for the better part of this decade, and like everyone's scared to touch it.
Yeah. There's just like a fucking blinky HAL 9000 light just in the center of the YouTube offices. And there's like shrines and like tributes like in front of it. Like a fucking Star Trek episode.
Oh, man. A couple of sacrificial skeletons.
Oh, yeah. So there's like a mountain of like intern skulls just like piled up in front of it. Profits are going down. Sacrifice more interns.
I mean, in our lifetimes, we will absolutely, unless, barring, surprise meteor or, surprise winter, the general AI.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think the number one is like people's expectation. I think if we come up with the general AI, it will be so alien to us that I'm not even sure we'll be able to communicate with it for like a very long time. Or have like any sort of, it's going to be like fucking Arrival, right? Where it's just like, it operates at like a level that we don't.
Now it's going to draw the little smoke circle language, and that'll be easy.
It's going to draw a little smiley face and be like...
We'll figure it out. Yeah.
Meanwhile, like, all the nuclear missile silos are just, like, lighting up and launching.
You know what? I can get behind that. Like, if you're going to pass legislation, like, prevent AI from ever being tied into, like, global defense weapons systems.
The thing that blew my mind is they're like, we want to replace all of our antiquated nuclear missile security systems with the network thing. I'm like, no, you put that floppy drive back, motherfucker. You put that down. I don't want that shit anywhere near the internet.
Too, right?
Yeah. You put that floppy drive back. You put that back where you found it. You don't move it. Yeah. I want launching that nuclear missile to be the hardest fucking thing you need to do in your life.
You definitely want some Battlestar Galactica separation of the PCs.
Right? Yeah. Right. Have we not watched Battlestar? We've all seen Battlestar, right?
Right.
Oh. Gotta watch that again. Be depressed. What gets me is like a bunch of these guys are like, we're gonna use AI to like resurrect humans. I'm like, okay, so I get it. No one watched Caprica, because like that was the plot of Caprica.
I tried to watch Caprica. I did. I watched like 2 episodes of it, like hard, because like there was nothing on at the time.
Yeah, like conceptually, I think it was a neat idea, but people and I know at the time definitely, I just wanted more spaceships. I just wanted if they had just like made Blood and Chrome, that would have, we would have all been happy.
Yeah, Blood and Chrome would have been fun. I'd have been happy with that. And aren't they rebooting? Or like plans to they're all rebooting everything. Nothing's sacred anymore.
There is going to be an animated Babylon 5 movie, they said. That's been greenlit.
Do we want that?
I'd be okay with it. Like,
I guess it depends on like the quality of the anime. For me, that's what it boils down to. Like, what style is it going to be done?
and like, I think that's still up in the air, right?
Right.
I don't know. Like, I would love to see like a Jen D. Tartakovsky like Samurai Jack style like space opera.
Oh man, let's piss everybody off. Let's find the original team that did Spirits Within.
Oh man, no reboot. Let's just get Rainmaker or Mainframe Entertainment.
Oh.
No. Everything is animated on an Amiga, just like the original.
What was the one I saw worse than that? I saw somebody was trying to find out. YouTuber did the trying to find out information on the Beast Wars, right?
Yeah.
Because apparently that's very like trying to go back and watch the Beast Wars. Not impossible.
I'm glad I have a copy of that. Then
the CGI animation that was laughable, man. Like that was like bad for its time.
I didn't give a shit, man. The writing team on that show was stacked. They had like 3 Star Trek writers and like a bunch of people. Like DC Fontana, Larry Niven like submitted scripts for that. Like, what the hell? Oh yes.
So we're gonna get just in case somebody probably still has the. Yeah, I mean it's very reboot-esque, right?
Well, it's the same guys. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, then you know what? That makes a little bit of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. So it was a Canadian studio, Rainmaker.
Oh right, we did some.
Yeah.
Dive on those in one of the pre-shows.
Yeah, they also did the VFX for Stargate.
So they learned how to do it VFX.
Yeah. Well,
Technology
I think it's easier to do it like, oh well, we're doing a couple insert shots of this spaceship, and not like we have to make this in every single character and every single thing, right?
I'm sure like having HBO and eventually Sci-Fi has a bigger budget than the toy company did.
Mm-hmm. MGM or whatever, yeah.
Then we got the anime. See, no, I don't know. I am kind of looking forward to the next. We're getting another one of those Star Wars
Visions.
Yeah, from all the different animation studios. Which the first one
I still
really
need to
good.
watch the first 2 because
It opens strong, man. Like the first one opens, but it's like, give me that series. I'll watch that.
Yeah, I always like the idea of like stuff like the Animatrix. Like I'm glad stuff like that and like Love and Death and Robots exists, where we can just have like cool anthology series where it's like not everything needs to be like a super long ass story. Just give us a little taste, give us a little something. Cool idea. 15 minutes in and out.
Vignettes. Those days, some get a. When's the Doctor Who? They released a little Doctor Who mini trailer.
Can't do it to myself. Can do what? I think I've given up on Doctor Who.
Really?
Yeah. Those last couple of seasons, I don't want to get my hopes up anymore. I think I've been bitten one too many times.
The Star Beast, November 2023. Oh, we get it in November. All right. I'm very excited. No, I what's his name's back in charge of it. So
Russell T Davies. Yeah. Bad Wolf.
I mean, he knew how to write Doctor Who, man.
He did.
So we got to see. Plus, I want to see people's reactions to the Star Beast, because the villain in that episode is not who you think it is.
Okay.
That's all I'll say without spoiling anything, because it's based on a Doctor Who comic. Deep cuts.
Well, it's like, at least they're not pulling in stuff from the audio dramas. Which there are 90 million of, I have learned.
Well, here's the thing. I was tempted to buy a copy of, because they have like the, what do they call it? The full whatever. There's one of Torchwood now.
The anthology?
It's like new Torchwood episodes with a cast, but it's...
Oh, okay.
audio
It just
drama.
pretends that like Children of Men and Miracle Day didn't happen.
I don't know. I didn't get that far into it.
Okay.
Yeah, they just messed that series up, man. Torchwood was doing just fine without the American series. That is
Oh man, yeah, and like Children of Men was good. I like.
That's a good way to go out. I get it.
Yeah.
Even though you killed Yonto, I'm still pissed about that.
Yeah. But Miracle Day, oh man, that was like there were some neat ideas in there, but like they just completely butchered all the like they butchered Jack.
Yeah.
They made him a whiny little bitch.
And like even in Torchwood, Jack wasn't like the front and center character.
It was what's
her name? Yeah,
Gwen,
yes.
Gap teeth.
So like I don't know what they were trying to do with the Americanized version. It did not work. I mean, some American adaptations. You know what? It probably would have set better if they like did a recast, like they did with
like just like clean slate, just like this is Torchwood. This is a story about a British agency that deals with supernatural shit, and just
moved it to America, right?
Sure.
Or Canada or wherever.
Well, I guess they tried to do that, right?
And start from the beginning, like they did with what was the vampire, werewolf, and ghosts living together?
Being Human.
Yeah, they did the Western reboot of that, and they recast it, and told a similar story with it. Like, I think that might have worked better with Torchwood.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because like what the new stuff that they made for it, like again, Miracle Day was trash.
Or The Office. Yeah, The Office worked out for a lot of people, didn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't really get into The Office. It's not my thing. I've watched enough of it that I like get a bunch of the references, but like it was never I never found it super great.
Yeah, I never really watched it. That and the It Crowd.
IT Crowd was all right. It didn't age well.
Nah.
It's like when they're making Windows Vista jokes and whatever, it's like I remember that. There's still good bits, but like a lot of the references have like poor Half-Life.
Internet. I think about that every time I see Weird Al's White and Nerdy with the on my MySpace top 8 spaces reference, and I'm like, man, remember MySpace? Bork. Yeah, your dog just kind of like laid up on the couch. I was like,
yeah. Lonnie's gone, so she's just like, I'm gonna stay here.
Nothing to do.
Nothing.
What were you doing with that WD-40? It's just like omnipresent.
I was greasing a bunch of stuff. I got into a
no squeaks?
I got into you never get into one of those ways where it's just like, okay, I'm gonna spray some WD-40 on this thing. Okay, now I'm gonna spray WD-40 on all the things. So yeah, I haven't, it's been there because like in the interim between then and now, no one has needed the WD-40. So
and that's where, you know where it's at.
Yeah, then that is where it is. So when I need it, I know where it is.
I probably, of course, there's somewhere. I get these little cans of, they just got numbers on them. You can find them at any hardware store. They look on like the very bottom shelf because they don't pay for like item placement. And it's spray Teflon. And to this day, I sprayed just like, because when I first got this arm, it had like a little bit of a grind on it. And like I've had this, when did I first drop it on my foot? Like 2 or 3 years. It's been like 3 years ago. And I just because I knew this stuff stays on forever. And to this day, it messed up its ability to
stay put.
It removed too much friction.
Oh no.
So I have to, if you ever see me like trying to get this thing lined up and like if you touch it wrong, it'll just fall down. And never take one of these arms apart.
I don't intend to.
I want to get one of the, a bunch of companies make these knockoff road arms now because like whatever. And yeah, they're cheap. They're good. I want to get one of the framework ones with a adjustable where you can screw in the positions. Cyber, like putting electronics in your system. If I have no desire to put any more technology or foreign objects, no, that doesn't appeal to me in the slightest.
Well, like, oh no, you wake up one morning and your eyeballs firmware didn't update properly. Or Linux kernel 11.3 has dropped support for the model of legs that you're using, so you no longer can walk or whatever, right? Like, I don't know. It seems like there's enough stuff that can go wrong with the human body. If we can find ways to like technologically intercede and fix those, then sure. But full-on replacement becomes the question is the replacement like better than the original, right? That was like the whole Oscar Pistorius thing, was like, oh, he can win these races with these legs after he killed his wife or something. But like he didn't actually like he placed well, but like not necessarily better or more reliably compared to legged runners, I guess you'd call them, as opposed to like an adaptive athlete. But yeah, like I don't know, like there was that video about like they added like a secondary thumb to people's hands that are controlled by your toes, and like that kind of stuff seems interesting to me, like augmentation rather than replacement.
Well, I mean, I would like that for like the people in like need of it. But like every time I think about like mechanical and I see like fancy stuff like that, my first thought is like, how much does that weigh? You know, the idea of having like, you know, cybernetic legs sounds really good until you realize that, you know, they're like 50K a piece in weight, right? And you're like, lugging them around. I don't think we'll ever get to the point of regrowing limbs unless we want to lick our own eyeballs. Like splice in some
lizard DNA.
Yeah, some amphibian DMA, yes, MDMA, yes, that'll grow.
Well, so there's the notion that like limb replacement surgeries do work, and you could like be grown like another copy of your limb.
No, that's totally going to happen in our lifetime. Like, because people are working to commercialize that, right? They're like growing organs. So like like and like that kind of stuff, right? Where it's like it's less so like we're gonna generate a new one from the stump, and more like, hey, we can give you a biological replacement. Right. That is grown from your DNA and is effectively your arm, and like but like even then, like there's still a risk of like transplant rejection. Well, I mean, that's like the problem when like any type of transplant that's not yours is your rest of your life you're on
you're on
rejection drugs.
Or whatever. Plus, you have to run the risk of if you were given the limb of a serial killer, it's going to try and like strangle you,
or a toupee.
Yeah,
hair transplant.
William Shatner's toupee. Yeah.
All right, cool, man. Thanks for hanging out with me.
No worries. Always good to do one of these guys. It's fun. Traditional.
Something to do in the middle of a week. What time are you guys?
Same bat time, same bat channel. 7:30 is our go live. If you want to be guaranteed a slot, aim for 7:50.
Ping Jordan, despite what Jordan's about to say after I get done saying this sentence. Ping Jordan beforehand to be like, yo, I'd like to play.
I'll say I am not your personal calendar app. You can ping me and say you're interested, but fucking show up on time. I'm not interested in chasing people.
Oh no, I didn't say anything about you chasing people.
Yeah.
That's just like, that takes care of like, then that person shows up on time, ready to play along with 3 other people. Then you're like, hey, I can establish priority from this list.
Yeah. Well, usually Patrick's around. Nubbin's been showing up, so
all right.
We'll see how that goes.
Diablo.
Diab.
No, I need something to play, man. I've been on Steam looking to like buy stuff, and I'm just not buying Last of Us out of principle right now.
I mean, what are you in the mood for? Like something shooty, something adventure-y, puzzly?
Then game, open world
like
action RPG.
Okay.
Yeah, something I can dick around in and play for 20 minutes and like leave alone if need be for weeks at a time.
I mean, any of the Fallouts?
Not interested. I don't like Fallouts.
Did Outer Worlds tickle your fancy?
Third person, preferably.
Third person? Okay.
To put a finer point on it, Tomb Raider style games.
Sure. Like a Nier or like an Assassin's Creed or something like
something
that.
Something like that, yeah. Something in that vein. Or like a really good Hollow Knight-esque 2D platform. Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, one of those.
Did you check out the one by the guys? It looks like the Hollow Knight ripoff because it's like the artist from Hollow Knight who's making it.
Yeah, it's not out yet. Crowsworn.
Right. It's like, this looks suspiciously like Hollow Knight. Oh, it's the guy who drew it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you're plagiarizing yourself. Fair enough.
Yeah, there's no that's like Silk Song Man is like that'll come out when it comes out. And yeah, I started playing Hollow Knight again a couple of months ago, and I'm like, I'm good. Like I just want to play Silk Song. I would play through Hollow Knight again if Silk Song wasn't going to come out, but now that even whenever it comes out, I'm like, I'm good. I don't know what Risk of Rain 2 is. I knew it was very different from Risk of Rain 1, is what I know. Like,
yes, it went from 2D to 3D. I know that much.
And third-person action roguelike. How? I see a lot of PvP co-op. What's the first-person campaign like?
Oh yeah, Saints Row. That might be good.
I played around with Saints Row.
That's a solid fuck around simulator.
See, I don't like the F around simulator. I like to have like.
Well, there's like missions and stuff. It's like it's structurally it's a Grand Theft Auto game, but like with some more hijinks.
There's no PvP in Risk of Rain 2. The developers would like to argue that with you. Online PvP. That's right there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm on the lookout. Like, I'll take a look. I mean, I probably.
What do I have in my library that fills that you haven't played? I have a bunch of random crap. Maybe stuff that isn't installed. That might be.
Gunfire Reborn, Borderlands. I keep seeing all these other games. There's always everything that I kind of want to play right now is like, it's overpriced for how long I know I'm going to play it. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense to anyone.
Yeah.
I'd like to play a Valkyrie Asylum, but
Category.
Let me see. I might just pick up Evil West.
I heard that one was good.
Yeah. It's on sale right now. It's like $30. I'll probably get $30 entertainment out of it. I might pick up Gollum when that comes out later this month.
That seems interesting. I don't know if it's going to be my type of game, but...
Me either. I got to see some other people play around with it.
Yeah.
And determine if it's one of those things that I am going to be happy just watching people play, or if like, nope, quit watching. I want to go play that.
Titanfall 2. I guess that's first person? It's
yeah.
I heard that one has like a really good single player campaign.
I've heard people say good things, but they're also the people that are really upset that the series didn't get continued.
Oh, so you're gonna slam into a cliffhanger.
I don't know why I haven't bought Titanfall 2, because I've seen it for like $1 or $2 multiple times, and I'm like,
it is $3.99 right now on Steam. So.
It's an EA game, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep. What else?
Hawkins back on the menu. I saw what's his name? I posted that in Discord earlier.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just looking through like what's available. Like what is something that like I would go.
Valve, Steam, you're really bad at game recommendations, by the way, still to this date.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Like I've never been like, oh, thanks, Valve.
Yeah, not really looking like much, is there? No.
Mm. No one knows how to play Bubble Bubble. That's like Hubert. No one understands how to play it.
But isn't it the? I always get one of them confused. I think I might get Bubble Bobble and Bust a Move confused, which is the one where you have the colored balls and you're trying to match them with the other balls.
Bubble Bubble's got little lizards in it, doesn't it?
Because there's one, and I think it's Bust a Move, but it's always Bubble Bobble. That's,
Yeah.
Okay. That's Bust a Move. Okay.
Little lizards. Yeah.
Okay. I always get Bubble Bobble and Bust a Move confused, and I've no idea. I have no idea why. That just doesn't stick in my brain. They are in this. Oh, fuck this shit, man. It's like it's part of the Bubble Bobble extended universe.
Journey.
I don't know. You might like Journey. It's short though. It's like 4 hours long.
Oh, no. We need, I'm looking for like 40 hours. Assassin's Creed and level type stuff. That's one of the things, like, I wish it worked correctly. The Valhalla. Like, I'm bored enough or desperate enough to like, oh, you know what? Fine. I'll just go ahead and
Play that.
Yeah. But it still has a race condition, like right at the beginning. Oh, I have Journey, I think. Games like Journey. Stray. Nah, I'm good. Neon White. Neon White seems like something I would like, but maybe not.
Yeah, like any of like the Just Causes, but you played 3.
Yeah. I got a couple of
two,
Just Causes.
Two is good. Yeah, I guess like GTA would be like the other suggestion I would make is like
okay.
And I don't know, maybe going back and doing some Vice City and just like existing in PS2.
I never got into GTA. And I tried Vice City. Here's my, because I started up because there was like some GTA bundle on Humble a couple of years ago. So, that looks bad. Like, I mean, it looks real. I just got reminded. Thanks, Steam. More like this. I never finished Spider-Man Remastered. I think I can slog through the rest of that. I just got to. I'm at yet another mission where you do not play as Spider-Man. That's what.
Yeah, those, like the MJ Miles ones.
Yep.
I saw that in a Let's Play. I'm like, I would stop playing here. This is not like you get all the cool Spider-Man fighting, and that looks dope as hell.
Yep,
and then like knowing that you slam into that immediately removes my desire to play that game.
No way around it, and it is all 100% stealth, and it's the same no matter whether it's MJ, which you do that, or Miles, and there's a lot of it. It's not like the novelty wears off the third time you have to go through one of these missions.
For me in Cyberpunk, that was like the brain dives where you have to like do the investigation. I'm like, this is cool the first couple times. I get what they're trying to do. No more, please. I don't want to do this anymore.
My save game is like at that first training mission of how to do that. And I'm like, I'm out.
But my problem is I keep looking for extra shit in there. And it's like, no, you've mined it clean. And I'm like, but that's why I really want to try out Shadows of Doubt. Cause that's like, you can like go deep in the investigations and like trail people and like follow them around or like break into their houses and like root around for evidence and stuff.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean, you like stuff like that. What was that game that you played that just had novels? Was it? No, it wasn't Disco.
Disco Elysium? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disco Elysium. Oh, that was a great story. Disco Elysium is the best book I've ever played. Like,
Yeah. That's always good when you get one of those, right?
it's great too because it's like so the dialogue in it is great where you're like trying to talk to a woman and you fail the check, so the only dialogue you have access to is "I want to make fuck with you." It's like
one of the things we're going to be talking about on Saturday show, if you get a chance, come check that out. We'll be doing that at 8:30. Is Steam is rolling out their 90-minute.
yeah, the 90 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah. And what is it? Dead Space is going to be the first one with that free trial according. I'd never seen it on Steam, which I think is a good idea, especially with PC games being released in such a state lately.
Yeah, definitely be able to like, but like then that's the arms race, right? Well, like we'll polish the first 90 minutes of this game, and then like minute 91 frame rate just drops to like 2.
Turns into a top-down pixel platform. Yeah.
It just turns into Vampire Survivors.
So, but that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to elaborate a lot more on Saturday. Is that at least this is steps in the right direction. At least getting the mechanics and the mechanisms needed for what I hope that I've been wishing for, which would solve my problem right now, is Steam Pass. An opt-in thing for the developers. You know, if you want to include your game into Steam Pass, you get a cut of whatever people play. As long as you get the Steam Pass, you can play the games. But then do you end up with a paralysis of choice? Am I still in the same situation going, I have because face it, I got 1,000 games. There's something in there I can go play.
My worry is that it's going to get balkanized. So like we already have EA Play, we're going to have like UB Play and Activision Play and whatever. And like, oh yeah, you get all the games you want, but like you got to pay for each one of those individually.
Yeah.
Yeah, like basically like Netflix right now, right? Like Netflix and Disney Plus and Paramount Plus and HBO Max and all that shit. It's going to get like hyper balkanized.
I mean, you're going to see everybody do the thing. Like, you know, Ubisoft's like, we're not selling games on Steam anymore. They're like,
yeah, that worked out great.
Uh-huh.
And then like, yeah, DD2 launched on the Epic Game Store. Okay. Launched on Steam. Hey, the game's out.
Everybody wants to reap all the benefits from Steam without putting in the 20 years of work it took to get to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the network effect. They've been there the longest. They have the most entrenched position.
They got the best product.
Yeah, and that's kind of the other thing too. Is they're like Steam runs like ass, but it sings compared to Uplay or Origin or any of these guys, right? Like,
and they're working on it. Like,
yeah,
betas never stop, man.
Yeah, we got comfortable and they're like, hey, bam, new Steam client for you guys. I mean, Sibs, you don't necessarily own those games. You own the license to those games that can be revoked at any time, unless you have a DRM free version. Which is, like, it's the unfortunate reality.
Well, even if you have a physical copy, man, Nintendo's already shown that they'll come after you for just streaming the game or playing the game.
Yep.
Or recording yourself. Because Nintendo's eyes, they own that game.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not, like, whatever. I mean, that's, like, I pick my wars. Like, but at the end of the day, it's game. So, yeah, I still want Steam Pass.
I'm like, I can't get excited about Temple of the King because, like, I have to I got to a point where I stopped in Breath of the Wild and I picked it up again and I'm like, I have completely forgotten how to play this game. I'm just getting myself murdered. I need to restart so that I can go through all the challenges again and rebuild up the skill curve that has atrophied over the past 2 years. So
I did that with Mad Max. You know, I'd get to a point, and when I tried to come back to it, I was like, I'm going to have to start from the beginning. That's what I ended up having to do.
Yeah, because I just don't know how to play this game anymore. Yeah.
Nintendo is just like, they had the opportunity to refresh the deck, and
well, they did so that
Switch.
you can't pirate games off of it anymore.
Yeah.
You can still, but like now they have this thing where like, oh yeah, you can overclock the OG Switch now, and it runs games way better than the OLED.
Which those things are just like crazy expensive. At that point, just buy a Steam Deck. I just don't like what it's doing to games at this point. The Switch, because you want to put your game on the Switch as a studio.
I mean, it has one of the best revenue splits out of all the shops.
And they've sold a couple of them, 200 or 300 of them. So
yes,
yeah. I don't know. I want the equivalent of Game Pass for PC, but for open to all developers, not just EA and Origin or whoever the big ones are. I want it for indie developers too, if they want to put their games in there and just like have that, like, pick and play, pick and choose.
Yeah, and like even and again to your point, even if it's like Steam Pass, you get like the first 4 hours or whatever free. At that point, if you like the game enough, you're probably going to buy it, right? Like,
see, I don't think it should work like that. There should be like a Game Pass where you can just play the game as long as it's available on Game Pass and you're paying your subscription. You play it all the way through.
Maybe, but I feel at that point that
I'm
like,
not paying for an extended demo.
Sure, but like I think, and we're seeing that a little bit with actual Game Pass proper, is like game designed to be played in like that, like hyper digestible manners like this, because like, oh well, you get a million games for free on Game Pass or whatever. Okay, well, I want you to play mine and I want you to get a full experience, so you give me a good review and recommend it to other people. It's going to be a very short experience or whatever, right? Like we're going to start seeing more gaming of that. And like that may be a good thing for games. It may not be a good thing for games. I don't know, but like I think
how does that have anything to do with it? Game Pass?
The method of purchase informs the medium, right? Like we saw how like Netflix can release a show that is like 23 minutes long or one episode and like 90 minutes long another episode, right? Like you can tailor make stuff to like adhere to a specific attention span. And if you know that your competition is also vying for that, don't you want to make something that will absorb people for like the maximum return on investment that you can?
Yeah, but you end up with a shit game that nobody plays. Ravenholm.
I mean, but like they could improve. They could improve that, and you could have a lot of like really short, polished experiences. Like I said, I don't know if it's a good thing or not. I think like
what you're going at as like that problem's been solved. They're mobile games.
I guess that's one avenue that just has like microtransaction support. Here that wouldn't, and maybe that would be the case, is that like we start seeing games on Game Pass like looking to increase monetization options, like more like microtransaction content to make up for the fact. Yep.
But I mean,
that's what that is. All microtransactions are downloadable content.
So I don't know. Like for me, when I think about, probably from a certain age in time, when I think about microtransactions, to me that always, and what you're saying is perfectly valid, is I think microtransactions is what pisses me off, I guess I should say, is when it's something like when we were playing Youngblood, when the game was designed to try to extract money from you to buy tokens for upgrades.
Yes. Oh, is this the game is artificially hard because the number multiplier is increased, and like, yeah, do you want to, you can grind and increase your numbers, or you can just cost $5 and we'll bring your numbers up to the level, and you can just get on with it.
And like, if you've ever experienced that in a game, like we played through that, and their solution to that was just to dump them for free in the game. It was just pooping those things. So
yeah. After they dropped the microtransaction stuff, right? So yeah, I don't know. These things have knock-on effects, and it's I don't know. It's interesting to think about and consider them, because everything is informed by everything else. We live in a networked society, and there's no such thing as a change in isolation.
And I mean, unless you're a single developer, making the game that you want to play. And we're very fortunate that that happens with a frequency enough where you get like little gems or studios that are just bucking the trend. Like something like, what was it? What was that rhythm game that just came out that got stealth dropped? It wasn't Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Okay.
Hi-Fi Rush.
You get gems like that from a studio. It's like, whatever. We're just going to make this. Yeah, grinding sucks, and just running against that mechanic. You know, everyone's tried to shy away from it, even the big AAA publishers and all that. I ran into it the first time that pissed me off was in Assassin's Creed Origins? Odyssey? The one where you go to ancient Greece.
Yeah, that's Odyssey.
Odyssey. There's clearly a point in that game where they're like, hey, if you're a much higher level right now, this would be playable, but you're not. And so it turns into a grindfest. And I hate when a game turns into a grindfest because I got stuff to do.
I have a nuanced opinion of grinding because, like, if done poorly, which a lot of games do, it can be bad. If you have like a really satisfying gameplay loop where like grinding feels good, like you're going around beating up stuff, and like it constantly feels like you're not doing the same thing over and over again. I think like having some level of grind is okay. I think it's also a game design issue, right?
100%.
Because like grinding should exist as a way to be like, I do not have the physical skills in order to complete this challenge, but I can refine. I can do something to spend time playing this game and improve my character to the point where I can improve. I can take on these like higher challenge things and have a good chance at succeeding with. And like if it's optional, then if it's optional or well implemented, then I think it's fine. But you know, you get the Assassin's Creed thing where it's like, yeah, no, there's a wall here where they're like they're trying to rage bait you into paying $10 because 100%. They know,
and like another thing
that is a problem
with like game design. I mean, if it's implemented for the sole purpose of extending playtime.
Yeah, and again, like if the loop is solid, then and it like, yeah, I'm extending my playtime by making you do this like super fun thing that you enjoy doing anyways. But yeah, a lot of time it isn't. It's like, yeah, the carrot is like the events in the game and not like the gameplay itself.
And I mean, then we got people that all they do is they come home and play Cookie Clicker. So I mean,
Cookie Clicker has its meta though, and like even then, like at a certain point, it does become a lot more active than just staying put. But yeah, again, like and different strokes for different folks, right? Like some people just like, eat that shit up, right?
Mm-hmm. Like that's the thing, man. I mean, some people want to do like Truck Simulator.
Yeah. So. Yeah, the whole like, oh, if we had UBI, no one would be like a burger. Dude, there's like fucking Burger Flipper Simulator. There's like Power Wash Simulator. People will do this shit just because they love doing it, right?
A guy posted on a mobile battle stations his truck driving rig.
Yeah.
And on the right side, on the passenger side, he was in the EU. He had a full racing wheel setup so he could play a driving simulator.
Some people, man, that they know what they like.
He's getting paid to live his dream, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You know what? I've played a little bit of one Darksiders game, so not enough to have a opinion formed on it. So,
actually, I didn't mind Darksiders 1. It was just my PC was a piece of shit and it kept crashing every time I got to a certain point.
No. Like the one I have is like the Darksiders. I got like the one before that, but the Darksiders 2, I think.
Yeah. But
the edition I have just spike crashes under Proton or Wine or anything like that. We've already discussed it at length in Discord. So cool, everyone. I'm going to go do the make a podcast part of this. So
yeah, I'm going to go walk this one.
Thanks again, Jordan, for hanging out with us.
No worries.
And
bye, folks.
We'll see you next week.
See you tomorrow.
Yes, Jordan. Yes. On the tomorrow of wherever you're
on the Tomorrow Show.
Tomorrow. In the future. Because time's real.
In the future.